Bonjour. Right, just a very quick upload. I think it's only been about a week since I uploaded the video showing the Draco drop in. But what I wanted to do, so it's actually been coming up near a month now, so it'll be a month in a couple of days' time that I actually fitted it. My videos are all over the place. I've got bits that I filmed 6 months ago appearing in videos now, and bits that I filmed 2 days ago appearing in the same video. So that's just my disorganisation. But I just wanted to run through just a general update of where I am, how it's going. Was it a good idea? Was it a bad idea? Just a few bits that I've noticed. Yeah, and just give people a general idea. I've had so many questions about how it's going. People asking me, was it a good thing to do? Was it a bad thing to do? So we just run through some general points. In terms of my water, so a bit stupid really. The day that I fitted, or the day before that I fitted the Draco, I treated for blanket weed, which in hindsight was a really stupid thing to do because it made getting the unit settled in very hard. It made it very difficult because obviously I was trying to set up timings, I was trying to set up the system itself. Because I think with any drum, with any filter, anybody that thinks you can just chuck a filter on a pond and that's it, it'll do the rest for you, I mean, that's bollocks. That's not true to anything in life. Anything to do with filtration, anything to do with water, I know from my work, these things have to be dialed in properly, and there's a majority, I suppose a part of trial and error is a big part of that. So so trying to dial it in whilst treating for blanket weed is probably not the best idea, but we're, like I say, 3 or 4 weeks in now, and it's starting to that's my dog. That'll never settle in. But yeah, the filter itself is really starting to bed in now, settle in. I've been playing around with it. The time that I used to spend cleaning my NEXUS, I now just ponder around my shed, messing about, and just like I say, really dialing it in, tinkering, which is nice. I like tinkering. Every person likes tinkering, I'm sure. But yeah, certainly a pastime that I enjoy is just tinkering, wander around tinkering, especially now I've got the filter shed and I can do it in the dry and the warmth. It's very pleasant. So yeah, let's have a quick look. What I'll do is I'll quickly pop up now just a little montage of some videos. So the water is just starting to clear. It was horrendous for the first week because I'd treated for the algae. It was cloudy from the algae treatment initially, and then the algae itself was breaking down in the water, so it was very green, very well, those of you who treat for blanket weed, you know what it's like. So the filters are having to work overtime as it was. But that said, I'm 3-4 weeks in now. I'm at the other end of it. I will treat again. I've still got a bit in the pond. As I say, before I let it go to rot really, the pond, while I was thinking about changes I was going to make, I'd sort of taken my eye off the ball in terms of maintenance. So I'm now paying for that. But we are getting there. Like I say, I've got to the other side with the Draco and put it through probably the worst that it can go through really. Been doing a lot to the pond. There's been a lot of movement in the pond, catching fish, taking fish out, stirring it up, the treatments itself, and it's done really well. So yeah, it's a quick montage of what the water is looking like now compared to how it was. Yeah, it's a massive difference. It's a huge difference. The fine particles in the water, even though I've been treating for the algae, has been fantastic. The fish genuinely seem, I tied it in with getting rid of my shower, so I'm not sure at some points whether it was all down to the Draco drop in or whether part of that was getting rid of my shower. For those that have asked, in terms of getting rid of my shower, I've seen no negative to my water parameters whatsoever. There was enough bio in the NEXUS. My fish seem happier, the pond is quieter, I haven't got the eyesore of a shower, I haven't got the noise of the shower or people moaning about the noise of the shower. And yeah, the disturbance in the water is less, and as I say, the koi just generally seem happier, so that's good news. But yeah, it's a quick montage of what the pond looks like at the moment, and you can say for yourself. Yes, bang on. So just for reference here, so you can see at the moment it looks like I've got no water in the pond. Excuse the state of the window, it's absolutely rot. But my inlets come in this corner, so I'd always see what fines were being returned to the pond in this corner. It used to drive me mad because even though the water had gone through the filter, you could see all the bits in it. Obviously that's not so much the case now. You can see a few bits. I've just fed the koi, but if I was to hold that there and you can see the water, so they're the other side. But in terms of water, you got the odd particle in there, but nothing. As I say, I've just fed them, so it's a bit disturbed anyway. In terms of the water, a lot of those have gone down to the bottom now because I've turned all the air. They're a bit spooked, but yeah. So still a slight green tinge. I'm not convinced my UV's doing what it should do, and then I get a terrible reflection from the window, which also needs a damn good clean. Yeah, I'm happy. But in terms of the Draco itself, so at the moment I'm running it at about probably about 8,000 to 9,000 litres per hour. I've got a few bends, but it's fairly direct back to the pond. It's nice. See, without that shower, look how calm it is. Oh, the air's off. In terms of the NEXUS itself, I've been playing around with it a bit. I've made some adjustments. I've actually dropped it down, so when you get it, you select your level, and what you're aiming to do is obviously get as much of that drum in the water as possible. What I'll do is I'll remove this cover just to chat through it. Right, there we go. So we can see it in there. Sits in there without a problem. Biggest problem I've got in here at the moment, I don't know if you can see them all. I'll go in that corner, but what I get in my water, look at all the dead flies. I can't believe putting the shed, or the shed inside, putting the filter inside, I can't believe the amount of flies. I don't know if this camera's going to pick them up. But literally hundreds of the damn things, and I've had the window open. When I come in here in the morning after the, obviously the night time, literally the whole left side, never the right, strangely, always the left-hand side is just covered in these. I don't know if they're fruit flies or what, I don't know. You tell me in the comments. Do you get the same in your filter to shed? But yeah, so what I did do, oops, look at that, the leaves getting picked out. What I did do is I actually dropped it down one more on the legs. And as I say, what you're trying to do is get that drum to sit as far down in the water as possible without the water encroaching or going over into the waste tray. So went down one more, played around with it a bit. One of the things I didn't do, and you must always remember, is the sensor itself. So what I done, I made the mistake, and I contacted Tony and said, for crying out loud, Tony, there's, you know, I'm finding bits in the water, there's fines getting through. And he said to me, he said, oh, well, how long's the water sitting in there for? So, yeah, I made the mistake. I realised at that very moment that I'd cocked up. So, although I dropped this in the water, so I took it down, probably looking at probably about 20 mil lower in the water, I hadn't adjusted the float switch. So obviously the float switch was then sitting deeper in the water. So this was taking a lot longer to trigger. That's my dog again. Was taking longer to trigger, so I was getting a lot of water sitting, and then that was obviously pushing the muck through with the pressure. So I've adjusted that now, it's been absolutely fine. But motor, been faultless. I looked at possibly moving the jets and where they face in terms of the drum, but there was no need. I don't know why I was looking. I think I was just looking because I've got fuck all else to do really. But yeah, the float switch itself, which is down in there, can't really see it very well, been faultless. This isn't a standalone drum, so one of the things that does come with it, you do get a bit of a build up in the NEXUS. Some muck does get through. Speaking to other drum owners, they report very similar. Difference with them is it will sit in the drum. The difference with this is because the Draco hasn't, or the drop-in hasn't got a bottom, obviously that sits quite conveniently really. You're not going to see it because all the flies are on top, but it's, I mean, we're talking very little. If I can get that to focus, you just see the odd few little bits down on that side, but it is minimal. And all I do with my vac once a week, because I want to do, because this is mains fed, and you get a certain degree of overspray, so the pond is actually topping up when it's cleaning, if that makes sense, because you get a bit of overspray, which you can't avoid. It's actually topping up, so it's worked out really well, because all I've done is fitted my overflow on there. That combined then with what I'm taking out with the hose just out of the inner seems to be, with my water parameters, working really well. So all I do is just give this out, a hoover out. I reckon I could probably go a month, maybe 6 weeks without touching this at all. But that's not something I would recommend. I want to stay on top of maintenance. But as you can see, the actual unit itself, it's all clean inside. What is my dog doing? Look. Ted? Ted? Hey. Come here. Ted. We're trying to film. Hey. We're trying to film. I'm talking to you. Yeah, hey. Fuck's sake. Yeah, I'm watching. Wait. Yeah. Yeah, I can still see you. Shit bag. Right, so where was we? Yeah, so the unit's nice and clean. There's no negatives I've noticed. The flow has remained very good. In terms of flushing, so what someone said to me, and I hadn't picked up on it really. Someone said to me, "Oh, you can't, what do you call it? Flush your line, your 4-inch line." But thinking about it, if I wanted to, I can drain the centre and I can literally just lift this out if I wanted to, and the NEXUS would be exactly as it was before. If anything, there's probably more surface in there, surface volume of water, should I say, in the centre now than there was with the Easy. But yeah, flow is exactly as it was, probably, I would say maybe slightly less, but I don't see any differences in terms of how the buy or anything drops. It's been exactly as it was when I run the Easy section, so I'm happy with that. What else can we talk about? Control panel. So the control panel, really easy to use, not been a problem at all. You can see, so now as I'm coming out the back of the algae treatment, I'm up to treating, so that's cleaning once every 35 minutes. So they're being fed at the moment about 6 times a day. And I'm at 35. When I come out here in the night, I was talking to Tony, he said, out of interest, go and have a look at what it's doing at night when algae's obviously not growing as much, obviously not feeding. And sometimes I come out and I'm well over an hour between cleans. So yeah, hour cycles, over an hour cycle. So there's been a few times where I've actually had to, in the daytime, before I treated with the second load of algae treatment, I actually had to bring in the 45-minute wash, because it was going so far over an hour that, yeah, I didn't want the screens building up with crap. So again, it's preventative. It's being forward thinking with your maintenance rather than being reactive or having to be reactive. But yeah, other than that, I don't know what else I can say. It's not a standalone drum, it is a drop-in. So what you got to remember, if you was to compare this setup to, I suppose, a combi system, it's probably not as good. Cheeky little spider there, look. It's not as good, but it is a cheap alternative. You know, if you've already got a NEXUS, honestly, in my eyes, it's a no-brainer. It's just been absolutely faultless. I say, nearly a month now. I've not had any problems. There's no sign of any problems. Build quality seems, you know, really good. Been talking to Tony. So in terms of updates, so this is obviously updated compared to some of the older units, and then still, so they've just been working with a partner to actually come up with an alternative motor. So the new drums from DRACO now actually come with an external motor, even on the drop-in. So what Tony's kind of going to do, I'm going to look about upgrading that, and what I'll do is I'll film it and send it through. But just for your eyes, here's a quick video clip of what that looks like. Yeah, so you can see there the change, obviously taking the motor from inside the drum to really sort of enhance reliability. But yeah, would I buy another one? 100%. Also, what it has made me do as well is seriously consider what drum I would go for when I eventually buy a combi, because obviously the plan is to use this on another pond that I want down the end of the garden for my grow on. But that will need replacing. What I want in here is a nice sitting combi unit. But yeah, it really puts doubt in my mind as to what combi unit I would use. So I would certainly look at the DRACO combi units, the standalone and the combi units that they do, based on the build quality I've seen from this. So yeah, there's not a lot else I can say, guys, other than 4 weeks in, I'm happy as Larry. Tony, the guy that owns Draco, I pretty much speak to him every week. To start with, it was as I was dialing it in. I hounded him with how-to questions. You know, if I do this, what will happen? Should I have done this? Should I have done that? And he was always very patient with me, as he was when I was buying it. Because as I say, I nearly ruined the relationship, really, because I started our conversations with quite a few negatives about it, and he sort of humoured me and carried on the discussion, which was pleasant of him. But yeah, I speak to Tony every week, and it's got to a point now where I'm dialed in and I'm happy with how it's running. It's actually Tony that contacts me to see how I'm getting on, and to suggest improvements beyond what I've already done. So yeah, that's very good. So we're 4 weeks in. I'm going to continue these updates. As I say, this is a very short one. I'll keep these short. I will upload a proper video this week as well. But yeah, in terms of the Draco itself, it's bang on. I've criticised them in the past. I'm guilty of listening to previous reviews from a long time ago. But yeah, I did say, will it be me eating humble pie? And probably on this one, I'll have to accept defeat. Although it's not really a defeat, it's a success and it's a win, because it's on my pond, so I'm happy, and I've paid for it. So if it was shit and I hadn't paid for it, that'd been a bit depressing. But yeah, from the Draco drop in and the Nexus, we're all happy this end, as are these little piggies. As I say, I'll update you again soon, but for now, it's pip cheerio. If you've got any questions about the Draco, honestly, fire them over to me. If you haven't seen, there is the original video of me installing it if you want any help. But there was little errors that I made there, and I know I commented. One of the things Tony picked up on was I said about the brackets not being in the instructions. Well, again, had to eat humble pie, because yeah, it's there in black and white. It tells you exactly what brackets to use where. So bit of a numpty moment on my behalf, that one. But yeah, if you've got any questions, honestly, please don't hesitate to get in contact. The whole point of this channel and these reviews is to spend my own money and give my honest opinion and feedback. And at this stage, 4 weeks in, we're bang on. I'd be happy to recommend it, and I'd be happy to help anyone that's looking to do the same. But I'll see you soon with another update, hopefully still positive. And yeah, take care, have a good weekend. Laters.